On today's video, I'm going to be sharing with you a story I think most of you might relate to. There was a time I hated reading a lot. Reading was like a death sentence to me. Not until I discovered something that I'm going to be sharing with you on today's video. I hated reading a lot. I wasn't a fan of reading at all, most especially when the books look so bulky, and I will start a book, I won't finish reading it, and it got to a point that it affected every area of my life, which includes communication and writing. Not until I discovered this technique and it completely changed everything. I was able to read well, I was able to understand everything I am reading, I was able to find reading interesting, and I got so obsessed. One thing I knew that actually transformed the way I perceive reading and it made me get interested in reading is that I found my interests. If you don't find your interests, you might not like reading at all. Most especially when you are given books that seem boring to you, that you are not even interested in the subject. You discover that you don't like reading. But I'm here to tell you that it's not that you don't like reading. It is just because you are not interested in the content of the book. If you find your interest and you are giving your interest to read, you discover that you will love reading and you will stick to it. In fact, you get obsessed. So one thing that I actually take into account anytime I want to read is that I try as much as possible to get books that are interesting to me. And I was able to make the right decision. Even when I was applying to the university, I picked a course that I'm very interested in, and it was fun for me to read. Because if I find myself in another course entirely, I won't be able to do well, and in fact, I will hate reading it. If I find myself in history, I won't do well because I hate anything history. So, take for example, when I get to history and I will have to read a lot of things, I won't find myself reading it. But someone might think I don't like reading, but it's because I don't just like the content. So if you find a content that you are most interested in, you will most likely like reading. So get something that you are interested in. You can look around and think about what you are interested in, what exactly you are interested in. Is it sports? Is it psychology? Is it fashion? Is it anything at all? Pick up a book about that, your interest, and start reading. You will be surprised on how you'll be glued to it for a long time because you won't want to leave it alone. So one thing that actually built interest in reading is that I got interested in psychology because I like something about the human brain. I like discovering about how the human behaves and all that. So, and most especially the study of the brain. So I pick up books about those things, and I found myself, I can stay on it for hours. I can stay for it for a lot of time because due to my level of curiosity, I kept reading it on and on and on and on. I can stay hours on it without getting tired because it's what I love. So I will employ you and I will indulge you that you should look for something that you love, because if you look for something that you love, you discover that you like reading. Look for subjects that you're interested in and read things around that. Then after that, if you start with that, you can now go gradually to things that you're not interested in because you've built the skill already. So as much as the content is important, you have to actually build the reading skill also. And schools also are not helping the situation, because due to the fact that if you are in school and you are given something that you are not interested in, then it won't give you the room to build the relevant reading skill required, and in fact you hate reading and you might not even know how to read. So one thing is that if you get something that you are interested in, you can now move to the things that you might not be interested in, but you have to read it, because that is the only way you can do well in school. Because most of the time in school you are given things that you don't care about, but you can start with something that you care about first, build the skill, then go to things that you don't care about, but you just have to do it. That's the point. But if you are introduced to reading books based on what you are not interested in, you might not like doing it, and that will make you run away from it because of your former experience. So you should always look for things that you are interested in. That's one thing. One of the things that actually changed my perspective about reading was my environment. My environment is very important, and when I talk about environment, I don't mean only physical environment. I mean what you listen to, what you see all the time, what you watch are your environment. And based on the kind of movies I watch, the kind of people I relate with, and the kind of things I listen to, it actually made me love reading because of the interest I have, and I wanted to improve. I sought out information about these things, and I come to discover that reading is something that can make you become smarter. It expands your horizon and changes everything about you. It makes you a better person. Then it's grew my interest, and I really wanted to go deep into reading. Change your environment, change the people you move with. If you discover that, okay, these people are people that can actually improve the way you perceive reading, move with them. And one thing that I will also advise you to do is to join a reading club or join a group where you have to set challenges for yourself and you have to meet up with those challenges. If you join a reading club or you join a group where you have to explain something you read about, it becomes like a game and it becomes like a very interesting venture, and you discover that you love doing it over time. So change your environment and it will change your perspective about reading. And one important thing is that don't force it. Because you want to read, don't just read anything and pick up anything. Like I said earlier, you must be interested in it before you can love it, and it has to come natural. It's something that comes natural to you, and if you find something that comes natural to you and you're interested in it, you'll be on autopilot. You find yourself loving it so much, you find yourself glued in it, and you won't want to leave it alone. In fact, people will be begging you that it's okay because you love is something that you love. So that is that. And aside from everything that I've talked about building an interest and changing your environment, you might be someone that wants to start from scratch and you really want, but you've done all these things, but then it's not really working out because this is your very first time of building up the habits. I would advise you that you should start small, because if you start small, start with simple stuffs, then move forward to complex ones, because that is the only way you'll be able to build up habits on it, and it won't seem like a big task that you need to do. So start small and you go gradually to more complex ones. That is that. After I actually made those steps, I was able to improve in my reading, I was able to improve in my vocabulary, I was able to improve in my writing, I was able to improve in my communication, and it's impacted every area of my life. I started doing well in school. It makes reading not a big deal to me because I picked a course that I was interested in and I was on an adventure. I was not forcing it. Like I said, it must come natural. If it comes natural, it's going to be a form of an adventure. It's going to be a form of an exploration. So due to the fact that I picked a course that I was interested in, whenever a topic is discussed in class, I go further to get textbooks on it and I find myself reading it and it becomes fun to me. As a result of that, it impacted my grade and I was able to do very well in school. And I didn't find reading like a dead sentence again, and it's changed everything. I find it easy to read anything. I find it easy to learn anything that has to do with reading because I've actually cultivated the habits of reading. I've actually built the skill already. So if you do all these things that I stated, you'll become interested in reading and you not see it as a big deal. So if you got so much value from this video, please like the video and also subscribe to the channel. And you can also check out this other video on how exactly you can create the habit of reading. So thank you so much for watching and see you on the next one.